Hello, so today's video is going to be, as I'm sure you can guess, NATO versus the Warsaw Pact. So here I have the two alliances. I have the Soviet Union, its entire territory, and then I decided to add in the Sweden and Finland, the present NATO countries, and I also decided to leave out the Baltic states. This is just so it's kind of more balanced and equal amounts of territory. And so here we're going to start in Poland with an invasion from the blue team. Just going to refer to them as blue and red team. And also another invasion into Czechia. They're going to start around on the side, and then now we're going to take it down here to Bulgaria, where Greece and Turkey are going to work together to start their own invasion in Bulgaria. Over here in the east, the Russians are going to start their invasion of Turkey from the north, in Georgia, and down into Turkish territory. It's going to be key to stay along the coast because it's pretty hot in Turkey. Up here, the Finnish are going to try to start their own invasion towards the key town of St. Petersburg and start another one farther north so they can potentially flank the town and catch it off guard. But this probably isn't going to go too well because the Russians are really going to want to defend one of their most important cities and are eventually going to even push into Finnish territory. Back down in Poland, Allied forces are continuing to penetrate the defenses and are taking a more northern route rather than going along the southern coast. The Czechia invasion continues to be extended along the south, and then back down here, the Greek and Turkish invasion continues to go decent as Greece starts to lose land to the Russians and is eventually almost cut off. The Russians are continuing their invasion of Turkey as well, as the northeastern side is completely captured and the red team continues to move in. Also going to start another land invasion from the sea in Finland and are capturing the important land, of which is along the coast, of course, and are going to eventually kick out all the Finnish from Russian territory. To help their good pals, Sweden and Norway are starting an invasion of Estonia to potentially distract the Russians and maybe even start an invasion from there to get into Russia. Back in Poland, efforts are going pretty well. The invasion line is getting thicker and they're getting deeper into Polish territory and are facing too much struggle against the Red Army there, and even the length of which they're invading increases. Down in Czechia, the line also gets longer as they're eventually able to reach Slovakia and take a little bit of land from them. This is going to be crucial because really it's only Greece and Turkey fighting down here, and so Greece is going to begin to suffer. Bulgaria recovers all of its land and even starts its attack on that land where Istanbul is. Red Team is also going to continue their invasion in northern Turkey, making sure to stay along the coast because it's pretty dangerous if you go into central Turkey because of deserts. Turkey almost successfully cuts off the Red Team, but is eventually halted there at the coast, and the Red Team, without a hitch, continues and connects to another portion. Down in this Istanbul area, it is completely captured by the Red Team, and now Turkey is in some real trouble. The invasion of Greece continues to go by smoothly for the Red Team as they begin to descend upon the more populous part of the land. Italy decides that it should probably help them out and starts an invasion to reclaim Greek land. And up here, the Finnish are continuing to struggle against the Russians. The red line continues to increase, and eventually the city of Helsinki is captured. The time for the Finnish is not going to last long. Sweden and Norway decide that probably the best effort would be to come from behind and help flank the Polish down there to help the blue team invasion go by faster. As Poland continues to lose more and more land, more of its important land along the coast, blue team decides to finish up Czechia and invade the rim and eventually come into the center. The whole country is eventually captured by the blue team as we go back down to Greece. Red team continues on, no problems there, but Italy starts to get a bigger influence in the northwestern part of the country and is taking back more Greek land. Turks continuing to lose more land to the red team, and there isn't really much they can do. There's heavily concentrated Russian troops there, and they're eventually able to reconnect with that eastern portion. Back up to Poland, we see that the Baltic states are continuing to be run through by the other Nordic countries to eventually get down to the blue team in Poland. They skip through Kaliningrad and successfully make it to Poland to help their allied forces. Russia begins to pull out into Finland and continues to take more and more of its land. And Finland really is running out of much of a choice and isn't able to fight much longer. It has no choice but to surrender. This is a huge win for the Russians, and they begin their own invasion of Sweden in the town of Malmo and begin to take some of its crucial land. Kaliningrad is completely captured, and the blue team moves on to take some more Baltic land. An invasion of Belarus begins as Blue Team decides that rather than helping the Swedish, it's probably better to go after the heart of the Red Team and decides that it's best to focus on taking out Russia because that would lead to a quicker end of the war. Back in Greece, Italy is gaining much ground and the Red Team is slowly being kicked out. The Russians are being stretched pretty thin as they're the key player for the Warsaw Pact and are really having to handle multiple fronts as Italy potentially wants to start a plan to retake Istanbul. The Turkish are continuing to be beat back by the Red Team, and the Red Team connects from Europe all the way to Asia and begin their descent, taking more and more cities, but being sure to not stray too far from the coast. The Baltics are soon eventually captured as Russian forces are forced to pull out of it, and soon Blue Team decides to start their own luck at invading Russia. St. Petersburg, the Blue Team is defeated and is eventually forced to retreat as more troops from Russia are being pulled back to the homeland, and Belarus continues to fall as almost half of the country, or maybe I would say half of the country, has been completely taken. Russia completely beats out all the Blue Team from inside the homeland. Blue Team begins to focus more on Belarus and eventually is able to successfully capture it. Now they have this whole line against Russia where they could invade from and decides that the best bet is to invade from everywhere. So along the entire front, a wave of Blue Team troops start to come out, sort of like Operation Barboza. And Red Team, or more specifically Russia, is going to really struggle against this. From all angles, the Blue Team is coming in. The line of blue troops continues to extend because, well, the blue team has more troops than the Russians here, and right about there is Moscow, so that's really where their focus is going to be. Eventually, Russia realizes that there really isn't much hope for it and decides ultimately to surrender rather than go through brutal and bloody battles for, like, St. Petersburg and Moscow. Alright, so let's take a look here at the news peace treaty after the blue team's successful victory in the war against the red team. We're going to begin down here in Turkey, where we see Georgia and Armenia being completely taken. Azerbaijan's going to be left alone. Greece is going to take some land out of Bulgaria. And I decided to just put Romania and Moldova together because I think that's best. Here in Germany, they took much of Czechia's land, as well as all of this Polish land, almost like half of Poland, I would say. And then up in in Latvia, Kaliningrad was just given to them because Russia has been decided to be kicked out from being that close to the west. Finland gets this long part of Russian land and is like right on the border of St. Petersburg now. Alright, so that's going to be it for today's video. I appreciate you for taking time out of your day to watch my video. I don't really know what I'm going to be doing for my next one, but of course, it probably is going to be fun. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Goodbye.